Hey everybody, Mark Lieberman here. Welcome to another session of our communication course. Today we're going to be talking about audience analysis. Audience analysis is key. Audience analysis is super important. Audience analysis is really important when you're writing a speech, when you're writing an essay. Audience analysis is really important when you're going to go into an interview. Knowing a bit about the people that you are going to present to or write an essay for really goes a long way to help determine how you're going to craft your message. And the nice thing about audience analysis is it's relatively easy. All you really have to do is put yourself in their shoes. Like, put yourself in the other person's shoes. Imagine that you are this other person. Imagine their life situation and speak to what motivates them, what they would care about. So by putting yourself in their shoes, you think about what matters to them, you speak to that. Not necessarily what matters to you, but what matters to them. And then you use their values and their perspective to illustrate your message. And finally, what common interests do you have? Where can you find common ground? This part's pretty important. Human beings are essentially tribal creatures. We want to be with other human beings. We have social needs. We know deep down somewhere that we need other people. And it's a big driving motivator for us. So if you can determine some of the basic motivations of your audience, some of their interests, and show that you have those motivations and interests too, you're going to have a pretty easy time doing your audience analysis. And there's two easy places to start. First, we think about what they value socially. Maybe they value like actually being social with other people, going out, spending time with friends or with family. Maybe they value different social issues, like social justice issues or environmental issues, or really anything having to do with the government and how our society is run. And one of the best and easiest ways, follow the money. Flat out, money motivates people. People are motivated by their bank account. If you can find what might interest them financially because it's costing them a lot of money or could potentially save them a lot of money, believe me, the people in your audience are going to be listening to what you have to say. And then you find where those interests are in common with your interest. And then that's really where your message is to be found. So let's take a look. Couple examples. What do we know about a couple different demographics? A demographic is a particular section of society. So what do we know about the demographic of retired people? Well, they're typically over 60 years old. They're baby boomers, so to speak. I mean, I'm not imagining the 30-year-old internet billionaire who is retired. More of your average retired person. What matters to them socially? Typically, it would be something like family, right? Maybe their kids are grown and out of the house, but they have grandkids. Maybe their kids are still at home. There's a lot of people who are 65 plus that still have their kids at home. Maybe it's their friends. They've worked all this time and they like spending time with their friends. Maybe it's where they meet their friends. A lot of people in this demographic are really concerned with health. And that could totally be a social issue, especially considering if they're in really poor health, probably going to have a harder time leaving the house and playing with those young grandchildren. So you find a lot of retired people going to the gym where they can talk to other retired people, going to the park or the community center where they can, again, talk to other people in their same social situation. And when in doubt, follow the money. Imagine yourself in a position of someone who's 65 or 70 years old. Maybe you have a pension. If you're lucky, you have a nice 401k. And you're probably collecting Social Security checks. Thing is, even if you're doing okay financially, like enough money coming in every month, odds are you're probably not going to be getting a raise anytime soon. You're on what they call a fixed income. The amount of money you make every month is fixed. So you're incredibly concerned with their bills, with what's going on in the economy, how the government is running their taxes, and especially their Social Security programs. Those Social Security comes out of all of our taxes, and most folks in this demographic have paid into it their entire lives. So, of course, they would be a little concerned to make sure that their Social Security checks keep coming. So maybe if you're especially interested in government waste, there's your common interest. It'd be pretty easy to talk to a retired person about government spending and how wasteful it can be, especially if you tie it to Social Security. So let's take a look at another example. What do we know about teens and people in their younger 20s? Typically people 18 to 24, like your typical college crowd. What do we know about them socially? Well, typically they like being social with each other. People in this demographic are usually interested in each other. What the other folks around their age think, what the other folks around there are doing. Maybe they're interested in particular events like concerts or nightclubs. Maybe they're interested in social media, a particular app or a particular platform. Lots of times people in this age bracket are concerned with larger social issues like racial inequality or the environment, or maybe a green, sustainable future. A lot of people in this demographic are also concerned with the money, especially right now. I do not envy students that are graduating college right now. It must be terrifying that you've worked this hard and the worldwide economy is in a giant slump. If you start talking about the future income potential of people in this age demographic, they're probably going to be interested in what you have to say. So if you're at all interested in that, that would be a good place to start framing your message. Who else can we look at? People in their late 20s and early 30s, or late 20s to late 30s. These are typically people that are out of college. They're starting a career, or their career's already going pretty good. So socially, they might be looking to start a family. They might have a rare occasion that they could see friends. So they really value that social time. So if they're going to do something like go see a show, maybe they would be more interested in a festival. They're probably not as interested in different events that happen on Wednesday night. It would be more Saturday night. Maybe they're interested in setting up play dates with other people that are in their late 20s to late 30s that also have children. Typically, folks in this demographic, one of their major motivators is time. They used to have a ton of it when they were in their late teens or younger 20s. Now all of a sudden it seems like all they do is work and take care of their kids and clean up the house, or just work, work, work. Speaking of work, follow the money. Lots of people in this demographic are really investing into their career. Maybe their career's taking off, which is fantastic. But what can you offer them? What thoughts or evidence can you offer them that might touch on that somehow? Maybe you might want to talk about rent or mortgage. People at this age bracket are typically their rent payments or their mortgage payments, if they're lucky enough to have a mortgage, take up a good chunk of their income. Maybe they have kids. Kids are super expensive. Maybe they have a retirement account, which would be fantastic. If so, they would probably be interested in the stock market more than folks in their late teens or early 20s, because that's typically where a lot of retirement accounts are. So what can you relate to any of that? Do you want to be an investor? Or do you have children? Do you help take care of children? Any of those things could be a great place to start. And so, let's do one more. Let's take a random one, like hikers. People that like to go hiking. How can you speak to this demographic even if you've never really been hiking? Well, let's take a look at what motivates them. Socially, most people that go hiking don't usually do it alone. They usually go hiking with another person, so it's a social activity. They would probably be interested in other social issues like the environment, pollution, how we're managing our air pollution and our land pollution, how we're managing our wild animal populations like rattlesnakes and mountain lions. That might be of a lot of interest to a person who goes hiking a lot. Open space preserve. How does the county fund and protect the open spaces that these folks go hiking in? And always, when in doubt, follow the money. Most everything that I just listed off that would be important to these people comes out of taxes, like going into open space management, going into managing the environment, going into making sure that there's parking at the places that these folks are going to. Lots of times you go to the trailhead, there's nowhere to park for miles and miles. It can be a real frustrating experience for a person who is really into hiking and is paying taxes. Maybe you can talk to them about carpooling or riding a bike or something like that. Find where your interests are in common with theirs. So we have our key takeaways. What do you know about this audience? You just put yourself in their shoes, and what would their life look like? Use your imagination a little. What do they value? If that's what their life looks like, what would be, if your life looked like that, what would be important to you? And then relate those to the interests that you have now. After that, you speak to those interests, and you're all good. Thanks for watching our video. We'll talk soon.